I want to see that, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it's going to be good?
I wish it wasn't on FX. I want to see some like gratuitous violence.
You just want to see gay sex.
Some
dude.
man sex.
Yeah, you just want to see
in the bathroom.
Aaron Hernandez getting clapped.
If we're going to clip
cheeks
this,
clacked from the back.
we're talking about the Aaron Hernandez commercial came up for the FX show they're doing.
You just want it to be HBO Max.
HBO
Dude,
Max.
FX doesn't fuck around, though. You remember back in the day
Movie
in our
class.
like 20s whenever they first came out, Nip Tuck?
Yeah, Nip Tuck.
That was the first thing that I remember, be 20 or whatever, and, be together. Are you guys going to come over and watch Nip Tuck tonight? It was like an actual show that was, I guess you can't say that that's binging something because you had to wait for it every week, but it was sort of eventized.
Yes. What was that like woman show that everybody got together? Oh, it was Grey's Anatomy. It's like Grey's Anatomy for men.
Yeah.
Nip Tuck.
Because they were just banging chicks in the shower.
Yes. Nudity would have been like a solid.
It felt.
Yeah, it felt. Yeah.
It felt like they were there, man. It was good enough for me. I just remember being like, whoa, dude, they're into showing all this.
And then like True Blood came out.
There you go, Bijan. Shake some. Oh, God.
He's so good.
He's so good.
I know. Okay.
I know we're just letting it run. We're just funning right now.
Yeah, we're just funning.
We're just waiting for another minute and 41. All right, well, that was a waste of everyone's time.
I started Quentin Johnson in the league, and that's pretty spicy.
That's the spiciest of spicy. Come on.
What do I do? What do I do this to myself? What do I do? What do I do this to myself?
Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Fuck Ups podcast. We are here on a Monday night football edition, recapping week 1 and week 2. We were not available last week, so here we are talking about news, studs, duds, fuck ups, spicy selections. And I put the question out to you guys on our socials, and I got some interaction. I got some people pretty bummed out. So far, the fuck up entries have been Kincaid, CMC as the number 1 overall pick, which, yeah, I feel you. Worthy was on my bench. I would have won if I started him. This guy, Landon, I got to give Landon a shout out. My phone died and I accidentally started T. Higgins. Ooh, that's rough. A lot of people from week 1 saying, oh, I sat Jaden Reed. A lot of people said started Drake London, bitch Jaden Reed. So, yeah, that sucks. And here's one for you, Bears fan. Been in a dynasty league for years now, and I can't let go of DeAndre Swift. He's been the death of me.
Yeah. He doesn't have an offensive line.
He looked okay the other day.
He looks okay. He just doesn't have an offensive line to run behind.
What's your biggest fuck up so far out of week 1 and week 2?
Kirk.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk.
Started him this week, week 2.
Last week. Yeah. Week 1, fuck up of the week. Christian Kirk, Olave, and Drake London. All 3 of them.
I mean, Olave had a good week too, but yeah, I started him last week and benched him this week. And so, kind of screwed that order up. Calvin Ridley, I've been in a wait and see approach with him. And this week he looked really good and I sat him.
Me too. He was on my bench.
So that's a bummer.
Christian Kirk was not.
Oh, I got to give a shout out to Mitchell. You want to talk about fuck ups? Love you, buddy. In the first round, he took Puka Nacua. In the either second or third round, he took Cooper Kupp.
Gosh, that's rough. 2
IR spots, and we only have 1. So I'm sorry, buddy. I had to give you a shout out. That is that's rough, man. That's not awesome, and I feel for you, man. So
Yeah.
I will give you $10 for DraftKings for your troubles.
Carby selection. We have this guy in our league, and if he drafts players.
Oh, we slinging mud now?
Yeah, we're slinging mud. If he drafts players, they are going to get injured within the first 4 weeks.
Carby?
Andrew Carby. Yeah. His keeper was CMC. And he decided late on that and made a big deal out of getting him and was super stoked about it. Stole the pick out from the guy with the number 1 pick, and then sure enough, he didn't even play and he's injured.
It's brutal, man. I mean, speaking of CMC, what are you doing with him if you've got him?
Oh, stick him on the IR.
You just gotta sit
I
on
know
it?
you and I differ on this. I just don't think you can get that much out of him.
I agree with that. I don't think that you can get much out of him. But here's the thing: people that have him are going to want to.
Yeah.
Like if I just wanted to go out and say, "Hey, here's Chris Olave. I went and picked up Jordan Mason. It'd be nice to have CMC. I'll throw him in my IR spot and just hope that he can help me in the playoffs." But I think that person's going to be like, "Well, no. Like whenever he comes back, he's going to be amazing." And they're going to want like a Jamar Chase or a. They're just going to want. I don't know, man.
He's going to have to get up to game speed. I don't know. And I don't know when he's coming back. An Achilles? You got to be careful.
Yeah. I mean, it's serious risk of re-aggravation. And speaking of that, that's a perfect segue to get into injuries because they have been bountiful. The cuppeth runneth over with injuries thus far. And week 1, it was like, oh shit, Puka and some other things. And then week 2, the floodgates fucking open.
I know. I think it's partially, the way they play preseason. They're not ready. Their bodies aren't ready for like the full-fledged hits from starting defenses, and you're just seeing all these soft tissue. Like I said, I'm going to go through it real quick right here. Injury report. Tajay Spears suffered an ankle injury in the second half against the Jets. Marshawn Lloyd left with an ankle injury against the Colts, did not return. Tank Bigsby, Jaguars running back, left the game against the Browns with a shoulder injury. Is it Isaiah or Isaiah Pacheco?
Isaiah.
Okay, Isaiah Pacheco
broke his damn leg.
Broke his leg. He's going to be out for a minute. Joe Mixon left Sunday's night game with an ankle injury. We'll get an MRI Monday. It's a bummer. He's one of my picks because I like Joe Mixon.
Yeah, and he looked amazing in week 1. And it's annoying too because they got him with that hip drop. They acted like they were going to start calling that this year, and there's been 3 or 4, and they haven't done shit about it.
Sure did. Wide receiver Justin Jefferson had a thigh bruise / contusion. Cooper Kupp.
Contusion.
Cooper Kupp. He's going to be out for a few weeks with an ankle injury. Looks like a high ankle sprain. David Bell dislocated his hip. Then that will require surgery. I don't know how many people have David Bell.
Probably none.
Taysom Hill left the Cowboys in a game with a chest injury. And as far as, offensive players, I think the big one I saw today was Deebo Samuel. Looks like he's going to miss some time.
With a calf strain, right?
Yep.
Which that's another one of those kind of CMC type things. It's like, that's a pretty big risk of like re-aggravation.
Yep.
And A.J. Brown's not playing tonight. We're watching Monday Night Football right now, and he's got a hammy, which that's another thing that can linger.
Yeah.
So it's just like you wonder, I don't know, man. It's just those guys come back, and then it's like it could be 2-3 weeks that they don't come back, and then they finally do, and like that, they freaking re-injure it.
Yeah, or have a worse injury.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. The injuries have been pretty brutal to start this thing off so far.
Plentiful.
Yeah, and I want to hear y'all's injury reports. Let me know the one that hurts the most. I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments about CMC. Hopefully A.J. Brown and Deebo Samuel's not too bad for somebody like Mitchell with both Puka and Cooper. That's saying Puka and Cooper back to back is not the best recipe. But it's just been rough, dude. It's been not only gross because of injury, it's just been kind of gross football.
Yep. Quarterback play has depressed me.
Yeah.
And considering I'm a Chicago Bears stan, that's been very depressing.
Talk to me about Caleb.
Caleb does not have an offensive line. He's running for his life. As you can see last night, when there was no blitz, they got Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson, good edge rushers, but when they blitzed, he just had no time. And I don't know if it's a combination of offensive coordinator and the offensive line. I think the offensive coordinator might be calling plays because he has a deficient offensive line. I don't know.
They were doing a bunch of like check down stuff there in the third quarter. It was like all screen passes. And it's funny because as somebody who was watching the game last night, I was like, man, let Caleb throw it down the field. And then 2 plays later, he throws a pick.
Yep. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm so sick of.
You think he was like really missing Keenan Allen? Do you think that's like a nice safety blanket that he could have used last night?
Maybe. I just don't think he has enough time to throw. Whether Keenan Allen's plays aren't developing, his wide receivers aren't getting into their route and coming open, and I think that's the problem. I don't think he has enough time for a route to develop.
Yeah, they had a little bit of success there for a little while, kind of doing some screen stuff to Swift. And, you know, it's like you got to get the ball in DJ Moore's hands too, dude. He's so shifty.
Yep.
But, I mean, whenever you don't have time.
Oh, and Roma Dunze missed the touchdown.
Yeah, Roma Dunze, yeah, he had a kind of a rough night. But
he was coming off that, MCL, aggravation, sprain, whatever.
Who else has been a QB disappointment for you?
Everybody except Baker Mayfield and Derek Carr.
Yeah, QB 1 and 2 in fantasy so far, just as everyone had predicted.
I knew it.
It's what we all thought, people.
I called it. I did not.
No, and my big complaint this year so far is tight ends.
Yeah,
it's like,
Sam Laporta,
I'm going to take one of these guys early and not have to worry about it. And then you got Hunter Henry over here getting 13 targets, and then Laporta, trash. Yep. Kincaid, trash. Kelsey, trash. Yep. Andrews, trash.
Yep.
I'm tempted to go out and pick up TJ Hawkinson and just sit on him.
Yeah. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Especially if,
unless somebody has them in their IR spot, which would be smart.
Well, they don't in one of my leagues. Who has surprised you this year?
Surprised me? I don't think it's surprised. Baker has been surprising. Alvin Kamara.
I mean, insane.
I mean, I knew Alvin Kamara was going to be pretty decent, but I didn't expect the production that we've seen so far.
You know the one that I'm most surprised about, because, I mean, you could have got him like pretty late in drafts too. Chris Godwin.
Yeah.
He has been so good. They moved him back to the slot, and he is just getting busy out there, dude.
I know. I have Mike Evans. It's taken away from Mike Evans' value.
Who's been a huge disappointment to you so far?
Christian Kirk. That's my fuck up of the week.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk was in my starting lineup. Calvin Ridley was on my bench.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Jamar Chase. I'll say that's been a disappointment so far.
Yep.
He was throwing a fit after that game. I'm hoping that maybe throwing a fit will be a good thing. Like, it's like hey, this is some bullshit. Like, y'all need to be hyper targeting me, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Do you think that there's like a conspiracy is a strong word here, but do you think because of the holdout situation and all that they're like intentionally?
I don't know. I just think he's had a week and a half of practice, and he really didn't have all that many reps with the offense, so he's working himself back in. I think he'll bounce back. I don't think it's going to be from complaining.
He's got some get-right games coming up. Oh, yeah. God, you want to talk about a surprise of the year so far? J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, no crap.
After many injuries.
Finally.
We
were talking about him 3 years ago being a stud.
I mean, he's looking pretty decent. But, this conversation right here can kind of segue into a little bit of a studs and duds conversation. So I will pivot and hit you with some studs and duds.
Christian Kirk, dud.
You really hung up on this Christian Kirk stuff.
Pissed me off. He had such a good year last year.
All right. Let's get into the next segment, studs and duds. All right, studs and duds from week 2. We're probably not going to cover any from week 1, but I guess one that we could cover because he would fall in both categories was Marvin Harrison Jr., big dud in week 1. Everybody was kind of panicked about it. They had to take him super early in these drafts.
Is that my dog? Keep going.
Marvin Harrison Jr., I know that people were kind of panicked about him last week. It was like, man. And then Kyler Murray comes out and he's like, oh, yeah, it's not my job to get Marvin Harrison targets. Well, it certainly seemed like his goddamn job this week because, man, that guy granted, he only had 4 targets, but God, he was like 4 for 134 and 2 tutties. I mean,
In the first quarter, yeah.
stellar performance. So, yeah, top of the list there is the combo of studs in week 2, Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. Kyler Murray looking like vintage Kyler Murray.
Yeah, we called it. Yeah, I think it's a bounce back year, at least until Call of Duty comes out.
Oh, yes, he looked awesome. Dud, Jared Goff, he continues to disappoint in week 2. You know, it's just, I don't know. I mean, at least Amon Ra had a good game, but Sam Laporte has not been doing much. I have, you know, I'm still not necessarily a Jameson Williams believer. I mean, how do you feel about it? He seems like he's worked his way into being an integral part of this offense.
I know, and they've talked about him for the last 2 years, being just this stud, and he's gonna kill it, and he's finally starting to show it. I think that I'm starting to believe that I regret not picking him up off the waiver wire last week.
I know. I didn't even bid on him.
I didn't either,
Yeah.
and I'm starting to regret that after seeing his performance yesterday.
Yeah, man. All
Big
right.
bummer.
Next big stud, Alvin Kamara. I faced him last week. You're facing him this week.
Yeah, I was trying to buy him in every league, but
Good on you, Alvin Kamara. I don't know what else to say about that because I'm kind of pissed off about it. Dud, Rashad White.
yeah, big dud.
Do you think he'll continue to just
Yes.
kind of be a dud going forward?
I do.
Yeah, he was one of our bus picks.
Yep, and that's coming to fruition.
Yeah, Bucky Irving, he's eating into that workload. Baker, you know, new offensive coordinator. They're not just checking it down to Rashad White as much as they were last year. So, you know, I'm sure he'll have some good games here and there, but he is certainly not returning the value that people drafted him on.
Right.
Wide receiver stud from this week, Malik Neighbors with a 67% target share, which is out of this world. 18 targets. Insane. Great talent, but obviously can't maintain that level of a workload.
No. And like I said in one of the previous episodes, I don't trust Daniel Jones. He's not going to continue to see 67%. He's going to run into some stiff cornerback players this year, and
Yeah,
he's
well-
just not going to be able to maintain that.
And if that's your entire offense, and it's like, okay, just
What are you going to do?
double cover him, you know, whatever. And so, Dud, we kind of already covered this. Jamar Chase, you know, he's got some get right games ahead. They're playing Washington, they're playing the Giants. You would think that they'd be able to start putting some stuff together. He missed out on camp. I have Jamar Chase in one league, you have him in another. Are you just accepting that things will get better? Because, you
I'm
know,
gonna
I
start
saw a
him.
lot of people on Twitter being like, Jamar Chase is a fraud. The only good season he had was his rookie season.
He's a must start. He
You're
is.
Okay.
I'm going to start him. He's a must start.
You're not worried about him. You're not potentially trying to trade him on name value.
No.
Okay. Moving
Unless
on.
I get like the stupid offer.
Right. But I'm saying you would probably be the one that have to go out and pursue the offer.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Hunter Henry, talk about a stud in a depleted position that is pissing everybody off this year. Tight end. I'm tempted to go out and put a bid on Hunter Henry.
I wouldn't be a bad idea. Patriots didn't look awful. They didn't look great, but they didn't look awful.
Yeah. So we'll see if Hunter Henry can keep this up. Dud, Travis Kelce. I mean, God, put him on a long list of other top tight ends that we already bitched about. It's just frustrating, man. The tight end position has just not been going well. Any studs and duds that I missed from the week? Calvin Ridley, we talked about that.
Stud, Christian Kirk,
He was on my bench.
dud.
Yeah. So
I hope
we're
you see
going to
this
move on
Christian.
to our news section. I want to hear from you guys. This segment is called Spicy Selection of the Week, sponsored by Dune. Not really, but I hope so. They have a new series coming out on HBO Max. I'm a big Dune guy. I like it. Spicy Selection, a selection so off the radar that only a prescient mind could have predicted an explosion from this player. I want to hear who you jammed in your lineup because maybe you believed in him. Maybe you're a genius. Maybe you just didn't have any other options, but God damn it, it worked out for you, and I want to hear it. Let it rip. Who did you play that paid off?
Quentin Johnson. That's my spicy selection.
That's pretty spicy. That's a spicy meatball.
Spicy meatball. Yeah, no, I played Quentin Johnson in a dynasty league I'm in, and it paid off.
It did. I don't know that it will continue to, but it worked out this week.
You know, I'm thinking year 2, a lot of receivers can bust out in year 2. I'm hoping that becomes the case.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much made about his drops. I mean, he was good in college. You know, TCU, he was a fantastic receiver. The only issue is, I just think the Chargers, they don't pass a lot. You had somebody like Alad McConkey. He returned a little bit of value for you last week because he was like 3 for 34, but he scored a touchdown. This week, Huge was like 5 for 47 with 2 touchdowns. But
Yep.
it's like, if he doesn't have those touchdowns, you're not stoked about 5 for 47.
Fair.
So I just don't know that the volume is there to I don't know. We'll see what happens.
What about do you have any spicy selections?
I don't. I would love to lie to people and say that I played Braylon Allen, because I have Braylon Allen on a dynasty league where like I just was taking shots on people at the end of it because it was so thin.
Yeah.
It was a startup league. We could only take rookies from last year and this year. And I took him in like round 7 of an 8-round draft. And what does he do? He goes out there and he scores 2 touchdowns and he's on my bench, but that's okay. I'm not that mad about it. I guess you could classify that as fuck up of the week for me
Sure.
because I might lose that matchup, but we'll just have to see what happens there. And, you know, spicy selection. What's I want to hear from some other people. What would be another spicy selection? Somebody that played Braylon Allen, somebody that played, unfortunately, you can't play the lineman that caught the touchdown from Patrick Mahomes the other day.
Yeah. That'd have been a spicy.
Talk
selection.
about that helps no one. You know,
except Mahomes owners.
man, look at this. Kyle Pitts tonight. 1 target, 1 reception, 1 yard. This is the Monday Night Football edition of our podcast, and he looks like he could be a dud of the week after looking pretty good last week. You know, we'll just have to see what happens the rest of the time. I know people were excited about Kyle Pitts having a big week last week. I guess you can classify scoring a touchdown as a big week, but
Yeah.
for
him,
what?
it has been with his journey in
Well,
the pros.
And just what's been going on with the tight end selection. I see you, dog. All right.
Hey, sorry about that.
We're trying to do something. I'm
Wrig-
trying to do something.
Wrigley.
All right. So we hit our spice. So I want to hear from you guys. Spicy selection. Who did you jam into your lineup that you know damn well shouldn't have been in there? Who paid off for you? What decision were you forced to make that made you look like a genius? Give me that info in the comments. I want to hear it. Your name, if you win the contest this week, will go into the Dune Fuck Bucket. And if you were drawn at the end of the year, you're going to get $50 in DraftKings.
Sorry about this.
You're covered up over there, dude.
Yeah.
That's all right. All right, so we hit our studs and duds. We hit our fuck ups. We hit our injury report. What else do we need to talk about before we get too deep
Thank you.
into this return of Monday Night Football that had us so distracted earlier? Just to give some context to this, I'm down by 30 points and 32 points in another league. I have Devonta Smith. I have Bijan Robinson. I have Jalen Hurts. The other person has Drake London, and I'm looking to outscore them. I don't know how it's going so far. I don't want to take a look, but this game matters.
Drake London
so
hasn't
much
done
to me.
anything.
Well,
He's got like one big pass.
well, they're in the red zone, so let's see how mad I get. And look at this. Tyler Algier in the backfield on the 10-yard line.
Sounds right.
I mean, I get it. Bijan did a lot to get them down there, but please don't run this in. Please don't run this in. Oh, man. Tyler Algier. Yeah, go to the sideline, big dog.
Anyway, I think that about wraps it up for the week, huh? Till next week.
Yeah, drop it in the comments. I want to hear those F-ups. I want to hear those spicy selections. I want you guys to interact with us so that you can win some prizes, all right? And we will talk to you guys. Oh, shit. We will talk to you guys. We will talk to you guys next week.
On that note, have a good week.
Peace out, people.